Tone matters. Optimism matters. This may sound trite, but we need to find ways to become more optimistic, to more optimistically promote our vision and win people over to vote for people that actually do what they, the people, believe in. Principle 3. There is one word for our job as Republicans right now: accountability. Remember the movie City Slickers? It's a group of middle-aged New Yorkers who go on a cattle drive. Billy Crystal's character has a great moment in the movie. He's with the wizened old cowboy Jack Palance. Curly was his name, played by Jack Palance, in case you those want push-ups. Crystal character asks Curly, "What's the meaning of life?" Curly holds up just one finger and says, "This." Billy says, "Your finger?" Curly says, "No, one thing. Do that and your life will make sense." Crystal says, "What's the one thing?" Curly says, "That's what you have to figure out." Our one thing right now is accountability. We write down everything Barack Obama and the Democrats say and promise. We measure the results of their policies and we point out the gap. The American people won't turn to these folks based on what we say they should do, but they will turn when they see that they do not measure up to their own goals and plans. Nobody likes a hypocrite. Accountability means we stress what counts and we count the cost and benefit of everything the President and the Congress does. Accountability. Principle 4, we need to cultivate our grass roots. Grass roots. Heard a little bit about that discussed this morning. That's spelled grass space E-roots. We have a new phenomenon in American politics that I call grass roots. In this new world, belong to most cell phone numbers, email addresses, and YouTube hits wins. Despite the fact that we had a superior ticket, superior issues in November, we never caught up on the Democrats on their ability to raise money fast and cheap and communicate with millions of people in milliseconds. Door knocking and direct mailing still have a role, but e-politics is the name of the game and we have to learn it. Facebook, Twitter, blogs, online social targeting. Conservatives need to master the communication tools of the 21st century. Phyllis said, anybody over 40-something, go to somebody young and let them show you how to do this and do it. You know, Obama's Cairo speech today was carried on Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, with speech-related text messages in Arabic, Persian, Urdu, and English. MoveOn.org was so good at this, they could even sell America a goofball like Michael Moore. Imagine what we could do with similar technology and good leaders and ideas. Young people, I think about this about young people. People always say, how are we going to win over young people? I'm saying, well, look at the generation today. Anybody, young kids today go to, I got a 23-year-old, an 18-year-old daughter, 23-year-old son. They control their universe. They're masters of their universe. They Facebook, MySpace. When my daughter graduated high school, she said, Monday, you don't have to write out invitations. I got all my friends right here. Of course, we sent out invitations anyway. But they're self-directed. If they want to travel, they don't call up a travel agent. They go on, Expedia or something else, and they figure it out themselves. When they buy music, they don't buy albums, they don't buy 8-tracks. They're probably not even buying CDs anymore. They're picking out individual songs one by one. Choice, control of your destiny. The roots of entrepreneurism and individualism and opportunity. And Barack Obama's going to have a government bureaucrat between them and the document. Instead of going online and figuring out all my kids now, even 25 to 35, young people concerned about their paycheck, concerned about costs, looks at medical procedure, go online, be able to figure out what's the best procedure, who's the most talented doctor, what's the best. Instead, you're going to get more government, more bureaucracy between you and that which you want to achieve. Our vision's the right vision, but you got to reach people where they live. You got to reach them where they are. And the other side has done a better job, and we have to transform, and we have to take the lead in that. And then, by the way, the folks of American Issues Project, ARP, are doing some of that stuff, and it's wonderful. And we need to do more of it. Principle number 5. In the end, it just takes hard work. Thomas Edison once said, most people miss opportunity because it shows up in overalls and is disguised as hard work. Barack Obama mobilized an army of thousands because they hated the war in Iraq. People put their career on hold, pulled up stakes, moved to Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina because they cared so deeply about their cause. You care so deeply about the unborn? Are you willing to give 6 months of your life, to remove it to save their lives? Do you care deeply about the sanctity of marriage? Are willing to give this movement 6 months of your life to protect it? Do you care deeply about fighting terrorism and protecting Israel and standing up for the rule of law? Are you willing to give this movement 6 months of your life to do it? You care deeply about private property. and economic freedom. Willing to give this movement 6 months of your life to secure them? Whoever wants this the most will prevail. Can you and I and thousands of conservatives across America summon the will to put our blood, sweat, and tears into the game? The answer literally writes and rewrites the next chapter of American history. Let me close with the story of a Minnesota icon you may never have heard of, called Sister Elizabeth Kenny. She was an Australian nurse. That's how she got the title sister. She wasn't a nun. When the whole world was under the plague of polio, she invented a successful therapy that improved the lives of millions and millions around the world. But to do that, she needed to overcome the opposition and scorn of the national and international medical establishment that was against her ideas. She ended up in South Minneapolis because the big shots in New York, Chicago, and LA slammed the door in her face. Listen to her words at the time. I am correct and the rest of the world is wrong. I cannot deny what my eyes see. I am engaged in a terrible struggle. But I have to have the bulldog courage to hear the cries of the afflicted children. Let's take a few lessons from Sister Kenny. Just because we are few doesn't mean we're wrong and they're right. Most of the time it's exactly opposite. It takes bulldog courage to overcome obstacles. Fight hard and don't let go. And 3, we can succeed if we keep our eyes on the people we're fighting for. Sister Kenny fought for children. We fight for families, for people of faith, small business owners, entrepreneurs, and people all over the world who want the world to be more like America, and not the other way around. Members of the conservative Heartland movement, listen to me carefully. An ancient Jewish philosopher, Maimonides, once said, each of us needs to view ourselves as the world we're held in balance. And any single act of goodness on our part can tip the scale. I won my first race to the U.S. Senate. Paul Wellstone died. He was replaced by Walter Mondale. 10 days before the election, Mondale actually got the nomination. Then a week before, people thought you could never win. And a lot of folks put a lot of time and energy. And that last week to lick the envelope, to make the call, to get out the vote. When I got elected, if you recall, the Dems had 51 Senate Democrats. When I got elected, I became the 51st Republican, literally the last race to be decided. For whatever reason, I'm always the last race to be decided. Hopefully the same outcome this time. It was the last race to be decided. It went to the early hours of the morning. I was 51st Republican. When we were, one of the great responsibilities constitutionally guaranteed given to the Senate is to advise the Senate on the nomination of judges, Supreme Court judges. I had a chance to visit with Justice John Roberts, who was coming to be before me in his pleasure to be Chief Judge of the United States Supreme Court. And Justice Roberts said to me, as he walked in, Senator Coleman, he already had my vote, he didn't let me up. I said, what do you mean by that, Jay? So, well, if you recall, when you were elected, it was beginning of 51st Republic. I had been nominated by the President, being on I think the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. His nomination was put on hold. This is what we saw at the end of the Bush years. The Dems would not let the nominations go through. I got elected, and now we had the majority was taken off the shelf, and he got confirmed, I think, unanimously. And by he being the 51st Republican, he has the opportunity to come before me to be Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, which will have a profound impact on our country. A single act of goodness, working on a campaign, whatever it is, changing the world. That's the capacity we have. And today we need 1,000, 100,000, and a million acts of goodness on behalf of this movement in all 50 states, selling positive, winning ideas, holding Democrats accountable, developing grass e-routes, flat out working our competition. If we do that, I assure you, and world history confirms it, we can be a small trickle that grows and grows, serving a whole country with principle, beauty, and power. Let's go to work. Thanks for listening, and God bless you all.